In its 94-year-long history, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has bestowed an Oscar, one of the industry's most coveted acting awards, to just 10 black women. This year, actor Angela Bassett could become the 11th name on that short list, continuing a legacy that began with trailblazing performer and Hollywood legend Hattie McDaniel in 1940. Bassett is nominated for Best Supporting Actress, the same category in which McDaniel won for her role in the 1939 adaptation of Gone with the Wind. McDaniel's story has become synonymous with a long, complicated battle in Hollywood for equitable consideration and proper respect for the careers of black performers. It's a pursuit that represents a reality yet to be seen, often glossed over by the victorious, hope-inspiring moments like McDaniel's Oscar win. But McDaniel's legacy is much bigger than just a line in the annals of Oscar history, with echoes of her artistic ethos found in the creation of non-Academy Award shows, the 2015 #OscarsSoWhite social media campaign, and the clamor for recognition of ensemble casts and diverse human stories in the arts. In fact, the one-dimensional depiction of McDaniel as merely a historic Oscar winner is a symptom of the problem itself, explained Kevin John Goff, McDaniel's great-grandnephew and the keeper of her estate.
The gift that Hattie gave me in researching her and talking about her with other people, that she was more than just the Oscar.
Documenting this history has been a multi-generational goal of the McDaniel family, a baton passed to Goff from his own father. Beyond the award, the 59-year-old says, McDaniel placed everlasting fingerprints on every part of Hollywood she touched. Something that isn't preserved nearly as well as her Academy recognition is the significance of the entire McDaniel family. If we were to take a more broad look at the McDaniel story, says Goff, it would be a Hollywood name uttered in the same breath as the Barrymores. McDaniel was born into a wealth of creativity. She began as a childhood vaudeville performer who took to the stage alongside several of her 13 older siblings, including Goff's great-grandmother, Etta. The family wasn't limited to acting either. McDaniel wrote and performed music.
She was a singer, she was a songwriter, she did radio, of course we know she did acting, she could dance. She was 5'2", 200 pounds, and she could outdance me, I'm sure. And she played the drums, I found out later. Like, she was a really good drummer. She used to sit in with people like Jelly Roll Morton and play drums with, and sit in and play the skins. And I was like, what could she not do? You know? So she played everything but the harp.
In many ways, the family legacy is also one of unspoken activism, started by the participation of McDaniel's father, who was born into slavery, in the Union Civil War effort, and continued in the defiant early performances of her and her siblings. At the turn of the century, McDaniel was even performing in whiteface, a radical choice to subvert the popularity of white-led minstrel shows. McDaniel's presence as a Hollywood mentor, a charitable benefactor, and a community builder lasted long after her historic Academy win, which Goff explained did little to overcome systemic racism at the time. Post-Oscars, McDaniel still suffered injustices at the hands of the industry and history keepers. At 47 years old, her performance as Gone with the Wind's domestic servant, now frequently referred to in critiques of the broader Mammy caricature, received criticism from organizations like the NAACP for promoting black stereotypes. Nationwide, many members of the black community recoiled against her acting choices in debates on the definition of racial progress. It was a limited creative reality that most black actors had to face at the time, Goff said, but also a role that she had personal attachment to.
She was a domestic at one time. She actually did that work. She actually cleaned floors and cooked and stuff. So when she stepped into that role and Gone with the Wind, she knew that life.
Other historians have quoted McDaniel as explaining her take on the role was actually a nod to the likes of Sojourner Truth.
Most black performers, they did play a subservient type of character, but Hattie, that's not the space where she came from. If you look at her performances, she was confrontational in a different way, and those things weren't in the script. She would take what was on the written page and say, okay, this is what I'm working with. Let me put my personality in there. So she would add layers, sometimes subtle, sometimes a little more bold and out there in your face. And it worked for her. What else could she do? It was either that or just kind of cave into what, actors would do normally. And she didn't feel that was going to advance or make progress for Black performers. She had to do something different. She had to kind of swing for the fences.
A refrain shared by modern performers and activists alike, awards didn't change McDaniel's lived reality of being a Black woman in the United States. She was retaliated against by her white neighbors after purchasing her own home, and was later denied her wish to be buried in the famous Hollywood cemetery. And while her Oscars plaque was posthumously donated to Howard University, as she had requested, it is now reportedly missing.
I was on a phone call with the Academy a couple years ago, and they told me they were going to replace it. And then the communication stopped. And nothing was ever, there was no more dialogue.
As Goff previously wrote in the San Diego Tribune, despite living in a country that has always looked at us as subhuman, it's McDaniel's poise while persevering that should be heralded.
This is the thing that impresses me the most about Hattie. It's not the Oscar. It's not the fact that she succeeded in Hollywood despite the obstacles. While all of this is happening, she's mentoring people. She's entertaining the troops during World War II. She's throwing parties at her house for her friends in and out of Hollywood. She's being compassionate and gracious. She's donating money to different causes. Imagine that. All these doors are being slammed in your face, and you still have this compassion and humanity to say, yes, I'll entertain the troops during the war, the soldiers that have been injured. Yes, I'll raise war bonds for the war relief. Yes, I will mentor young people. That's courage.
That isn't to say that McDaniel's win shouldn't still be talked about in an age where Black communities still have to battle for representation, recognition, and basic rights. This history serves more as a reminder to the film industry at large, as the Academy Awards are still predominantly white and male, despite some improvements.
She made a subtle impact, just step by step, so that when the next person came around in the next generation, maybe it'd be easier for them.
McDaniel, who was prohibited from attending the world premiere of her own film, broke barriers just by attending the 12th Academy Awards, held at the segregated Coconut Grove nightclub in the Ambassador Hotel. She entered the ceremony to the applause of reformists and activists, and in opposition of industry elites, before shattering precedent as she accepted the first Oscar ever awarded to a Black actor.
Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, fellow members of the motion picture industry, and honored guests. This is one of the happiest moments of my life, and I want to thank each one of you who had a part in selecting me for one of the awards. For your kindness, it has made me feel very, very humble, and I shall always hold it as a beacon for anything that I may be able to do in the future. I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel. And may I say thank you, and God bless you.
But it would take 50 years for another Black woman to be honored with an Academy Award. This time recognizing Whoopi Goldberg as Best Supporting Actress for her role in the 1990 film Ghost. At the 2002 Oscars ceremony, Halle Berry made her own history as the first Black woman to win the coveted Best Actress Award for her role in 2001's Monsters Ball. In total, only 10 Black women have won an Oscar, a short list enough that can easily be recited and posted on this page. Jennifer Hudson, Best Actress Dreamgirls; Monique, Best Supporting Actress Precious; Octavia Spencer, Best Supporting Actress The Help; Lupita Nyong'o, Best Supporting Actress 12 Years a Slave; Viola Davis, Best Supporting Actress Fences; Regina King, Best Supporting Actress If Beale Street Could Talk; and Ariana DeBose, Best Supporting Actress West Side Story, in addition to McDaniel, Goldberg, and Berry. The fact that 7 of the 10 Oscars awarded to Black women have been within the last 20 years may give cause for optimism, though there are contemporary examples of the continued burden on Black performers to make difficult creative decisions like those McDaniel faced decades ago. In 2011, Spencer discussed a fear of being typecast as a maid for her award-winning role as Minnie in The Help. Bassett, now nominated for her role as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, previously shared that she turned down the role that won Halle Berry her Best Actress Oscar, reportedly calling the part such a stereotype about Black women and sexuality. As the first Oscar-nominated performer for a role within the massive Marvel Cinematic Universe, and for a film seen by many as emblematic of Black pride and excellence, Bassett's nod could represent hope for a turn toward overdue recognition. But as television and Academy audiences wait the 2023 Best Supporting Actress results, it's entirely possible that Bassett, who has only been nominated twice in her 4-decade-long career, might remain on a long list of the underacknowledged.
It's like a big machine that has all this power. You're trying to hop on and hitch a ride and go for that ride. But at the same time, you're trying to change the gears, change the direction of where it's going. That's a really hard thing to do.
Despite the expanded access now afforded to diverse creatives in the film industry, he said if the same people are running the machine, they won't want to be steered away. Ultimately, though, the machine has just as much to lose in withholding acclaim as the artists themselves do.
I think you reap what you sow. If a segment of the population doesn't feel appreciated, and the industry is going through what it's going through right now, will it ever be able to build itself back up? I think what you don't want is a body of artists who have a lot to give to not care anymore. Because then you're going to lose out on a lot of amazing stories.